This is KGW News at noon.
Welcome to the News at Noon. I'm Drew Carney, and we begin this afternoon with the wild weather we saw here over the weekend. We're going to start our coverage here this afternoon in Washington, where the storm actually turned tragic. 2 people were killed by a tree that snapped and then hit this car as it was driving past. This happened east of Seattle Sunday afternoon. Part of the trunk of that tree measured 8 feet across.
What really makes me take pause and my heart go out to people is the fact that having had a look at the car, I see 2 pumpkins in the back that probably need carving, and my heart goes out to the families.
Man, my goodness. At the peak of yesterday's storm, more than 120,000 people in the Puget Sound area were without power. Here in Oregon, 25,000 people also lost their power during yesterday's storm. What we're seeing here is Portland General Electric crews who were out in northeast Portland repairing lines there along northeast Lombard. And this video came to us from Hillsboro. The wind there blew down a greenhouse at Eastwood Elementary School. Hillsboro police say a team from the school district there helped clean up the mess, but police also sent out this video to let people know about the flash flooding that led to some really challenging driving conditions over the weekend. And this last picture we're showing you right here shows a downed tree that hit a truck. Fortunately, in this case, no one was inside that truck at the time. We know crews were working all around the area yesterday, both to prevent major damage and also to help that is with the cleanup. The Portland Bureau of Transportation was clearing drains so streets wouldn't flood. Of course, we had the historic ice storm back in February, and then we had record heat back in late June. So Pacific Power says it's hired more help and also has added weather experts to their team.
Why was it important to bring meteorologists into your team?
We know generally where the highest impact areas are going to be. How would that impact our systems from, southern Washington all the way down to northern California, because that's a very diverse landscape, and that really helps with our decision making and resource allocation.
If you are out and about today, Pacific Power says it's important to keep your headlights on when you're driving, and also treat any broken traffic lights that you come upon like you would a 4-way stop sign. All right, Chris, let's continue to talk about this weather right now. I know you've been tracking some of the wind totals we've seen over the last 24 to 36 hours.
Yeah, some very impressive wind gusts yesterday at the Oregon coast. The Yaquina Bay Bridge in Newport leading the way off the top of the chart here with 82 miles an hour. Clatsop Spit, northern Clatsop County, picking up a gust to 74. It's just across the river, the mouth of the Columbia, that is. Cape Disappointment up in southwest Washington, picking up a wind gust to nearly hurricane force. So that was a wild day and a wild weather day even in the Willamette Valley when that squall line came through yesterday afternoon. There's our storm. We go back 24 hours and this thing really deepened over the northeast Pacific, and now it is making its way on off towards Vancouver Island. But before it did that, it bottomed out with a pressure of 942 millibars. And the significance of that, well, that is a record low pressure recorded on this part or this quadrant of the Northeast Pacific. That is the lowest pressure ever recorded there. So that is a record setter. The storm is weakening. It's filling as it lifts its way on off to the north and east, but it's still pretty breezy. In some cases, downright windy. Check out this live picture from Yaquina Bay right now. Breeze rocking our camera around. The sustained wind right now in Newport is 29 miles an hour. Fremont Bridge here in Portland, 21 miles an hour. We will see some occasional gusts higher than that this afternoon, but nothing like what we saw yesterday. The story moving forward into this afternoon and more immediately over the next probably 2 hours or so is this big slug of rain here that is now rolling out of the Coast Range and into the western metro area. That'll continue slowly tracking east over the next 2 hours. So we are about to get really soaked again here in Portland, Vancouver, and Salem. I'll let you know when this ends and when the rain ends in totality, maybe in my 7-day forecast, Drew.
All right, we will have more weather coverage coming up here in about 12 minutes. But right now, we want to get to some other headlines this afternoon, including the ongoing gun violence situation in Portland. Over the weekend, the city established a new record for homicides in a single year. A man and a woman were killed in Old Town Sunday morning, marking the city's 71st and 72nd homicides here in 2021. Here's what we know about this latest shooting. It happened in the 300 block of Northwest 6th Avenue just before 6:30 yesterday morning. That's where police found those 2 people dead. They also arrested a suspect at the scene. That person is now facing first-degree murder charges. That shooting in Old Town was just one of 19 shootings that Portland police are tracking from over the weekend. This map shows all the different spots that officers were sent to starting Friday shortly after midnight up through the double homicide we just talked about in Old Town Sunday morning. A lot of them happened on the east side. Portland police told us at least 95 bullet casings were recovered in connection to all these different shootings, and they said they also managed to arrest several people. You can read more about these weekend shootings on our website, kgw.com. And now to an update on a story we brought you last week when a man was run over by a car thanks to thieves who he says tried to take his cell phone, take his wallet, and take his dog. Now police say they have arrested the people that are responsible, and they're all kids, young kids as a matter of fact. Portland police arrested 2 teenagers and an 11-year-old for this violent crime spree that they went on last week. Police say for more than 12 hours last Sunday, the kids robbed and attacked multiple people, including Bob Wenberg. He's the guy we were talking about at the beginning of the story. We told you about him last week. He was walking his dog near Southeast 79th and Tibbetts when a car pulled up next to him. He says someone in that car rolled down the window, pointed a gun at him, demanded his phone, his wallet, and again, even asked for his dog. He refused and took off, and that's when he says the car ran him down, ran him over, and broke his leg. Police say the 3 suspects are now, or the 3 young suspects that they arrested over the weekend are responsible. Again, that arrest happened on Sunday.
I told him, I said it was like a young kid who pointed that gun at me. And he was younger than I thought, I guess. And, 11 years old, that's just, I can't believe it.
So the 15 and 17-year-olds are in juvenile detention, but police say that 11-year-old is too young to be booked, so instead he was released to a guardian while police continue this investigation. We also know car thefts are on the rise all over Portland. On the average, 30 cars are stolen every day in the city, and police are struggling to keep up at this point. KGW's Christelle Coonway has more.
Car thefts are skyrocketing in Portland, and officers say they're working hard to find those cars. Sometimes luck plays a role too.
And I just started shaking because I was like, that's my car.
Alexa Vandercook found her own Subaru herself. Someone stole it Tuesday. The crime caught on camera. Her husband's wallet was in that car, and the thief used his credit card. It was a blessing in disguise. Vandercook now knew exactly where to look.
I looked to my left and on Ivy Street and MLK, I saw my taillights. I was the only one that was going to get my car back.
Like a lot of Portlanders, Vandercook knows police are understaffed and overwhelmed. Car thieves know that too.
This is a major challenge. It's been difficult for us to address the challenge.
In September alone, 903 cars were reported stolen in the city, up from 658 in September of last year. But police stress they're working on it. Earlier this week, North Precinct officers recovered 33 stolen vehicles in 48 hours. Police were out again on Thursday.
They focused on a camp that was just off of Airport Way, kind of the 13800 block to about 146. And they found 11 stolen vehicles there.
Those vehicles were stolen from all over the area, from Hillsborough to Vancouver. Police stats show 77% of stolen vehicles are recovered within 30 days, with 89% recovered to date. Police say those recovery stats give them hope.
The problem is no doubt pretty pronounced, especially in North Precinct. So the officers are doing everything they can to try to address this and try to get those vehicles back to their owners.
People like Alexa Vandercook are just relieved to get the cars back. Her Subaru had some damage to the outside.
He tore off my license plate and had left scratches on my rear hatch.
And the inside was trashed.
There were meth pipes, there were knives, there were clothes, there was trash. It reeked.
But long term, her car will be fine.
I was very fortunate that I had found it.
A small victory that frees up police to focus on this frustrating trend. Christelle Kumwe, KGW News.
Well, in addition to the increase in crime around the city, Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler and other city leaders are also dealing with the issue of homelessness, of course. Mayor Wheeler now says there are too many unsanctioned camps in the city. So he says it's time to start clearing them, especially ones that are close to schools, sensitive natural areas, homes, and businesses. The mayor is focused on finding areas that would give people who are experiencing homelessness access to some basic services like toilets, water, laundry, and even transportation.
The goal should be 0 unsanctioned homeless camps in the city of Portland. Why? Because that is humane. Allowing people to live in squalor And to be victimized on the street, that is inhumane.
The mayor's comments come on the heels of Commissioner Dan Ryan's plan that calls for a half-dozen city-sanctioned camps. As the mayor points out, those villages will only hold about 60 people each.